Hello, this is Melissa, your insurance exam queen, and I'm so excited to be here. This is a very, very special class. We advertised it as one of the last classes before the baby is born, and she decided to begin to make her appearance last night. My water broke, but there has been no active labor, no contractions, but it can happen at any point. So we will do class for as long as we can do class. And if we need to switch out, then Peter will take over and he will run the class. So the goal of this class, and by the way, because we have 40 some, 80 some participant, or 50, 60 people bought a ticket. We've got 40 in the room right now. I have muted everybody. Oops. I accidentally unmuted somebody. I have muted everybody and asked that you turn off your videos just because it uses up a lot of internet to have that going on. And then during the game or during the test rather, it's better to keep everybody muted because sometimes people will talk or have background noise that they're not aware of. So we just try to keep that limited. I wonder. Thank you so much. Oh, I want to make Mary a co-host so she can watch the chat room with me, but I don't know how to do that. All right, well, anyway, I'll keep watching the waiting room and make sure everybody's able to come in. Okay, so what we're gonna do, the goal of this class is to take a test together. Now, this is gonna be a life and health exam, so there may be some life questions, there may be some health questions. Some of you may be doing life only, some of you may be doing health only. So we'll make sure that we know which questions obviously go to life, which ones go to health. Most of them are pretty obvious. But either way, whether you're doing one or the other, this class will greatly benefit you. Now, the goal of what we're doing today is to, as we take this test, first of all, I actually want you to know, I haven't taken this test before that I'm showing you. I've taken numerous insurance exam tests. But what I want to tell you is these questions that I am about to show you, I haven't myself actually gone through. So you're going to experience real time me figuring out these questions and how to break them down. And that is the goal of what I want to share with you today is how do I handle a question? So when I read a question, what do I focus on? What do I pay attention to? And how do I choose the right answer, whether I do or don't know the right answer? And then additionally, I will teach whatever topic that the question is on as well. So you're going to see real time me experiencing questions for the first time. Now, I will probably get some wrong. Okay, I'm going to get some wrong. Now that I want you to see me get some wrong. I want you to see me fail a little bit. So that one, you know that you don't need to be an expert. You don't need to fully understand everything and that it is normal to get questions wrong. It is normal to be thrown off. But if we maintain a positive mindset, if we know that we're going to get most of them right anyway, it doesn't matter if we get some of them wrong, that we can still keep moving, answer our questions, and secure our pass. Now, we have 2 hours. But in the last class that I just did for property and casualty, we only made it through about 30 questions. We have 100 available. We may or may not finish all of them. And whatever we don't finish, we don't finish. I don't have any way of sending these questions to you. We will get through what we get through, and that is it. Now, if you have a question, you are welcome to put it in the chat box. And you're also welcome to say in the chat box, can you unmute me? So if you would like to discuss a question with me, that is more than fine. I just keep everybody muted because of all the potential background noises that may happen. Some people don't always know how to function on Zoom. And we've had some interesting noises pop up here and there when people, jump in. So you are welcome to ask me to unmute so that we can chat about a question. Because usually if you have a question, someone else has a question. So yeah. And I have, if you've ever watched some of my game videos in the past, there are some people who ask a lot and people ask them to stop asking. So we try to limit, anybody kind of taking over with the questions. So, and again, there are now 43 people up in here. So now we are going to use the Kahoot system. So if you've ever seen that before, the Kahoot system is technically a game. And 20 of you will be able to join that game and play along, but it is not necessary that you actually play along. What's necessary is that you're hearing me break down the question and learning how to choose the right answer. So if you know how to join a Kahoot game, that's going to pop up here in a minute. But again, it's not necessary that you play the game with me. Now, I'm not going to wait for you to answer like I normally do during a game night. I'm going to immediately begin talking about the question, immediately begin explaining it, and immediately breaking it down. So I might, give away the answer right away. It's really not about playing the game. It's just the easiest system for me to use to present a test in front of everybody, which is why we're using Kahoot. So this isn't a game night necessarily, but there will be a game option because we are using that system. Okay. But I'm going to get one of your questions. I said this test when I'm ready. Awesome, B, thank you. You don't need to have studied anything yet necessarily because you're going to be learning a lot and you're going to be learning how to just handle questions anyway. So a lot of this will be teaching about the question and a lot of this will be, how to handle the question. Now, if you purchased a $17 ticket, you will also get a copy of this recording. So if you want to watch it again, you will have the opportunity to do that. If you only paid a $7 ticket and you would like to get a copy of the recording, we can make it available for purchase. You'll just pay the $10 difference, and then you'll be able to have a copy of the recording. Okay, so let me go ahead and get the game pulled up here. All right, here we go. So if you know how to play Kahoot, I will let some of you join in, but it is, again, not the point of this is not a game night. It is how to break down questions. With that being said, the Kahoot is timed. I put it for 4 minutes to each question. So there'll be plenty of time for you to answer the questions or whatever, but the goal is just to use this system. So again, feel free to join in playing the game, but it is not about playing the game. So I'll give everyone just a minute here. I'm going to check in on Peter. All right, also checking to see if anybody has missed out. I'm getting in. Susanna, are you here? Did you make it? Oh, wait, some people are probably in the waiting room too. Okay. People are joining the game and I'm getting Peter in here. Okay. I think Peter might have thought it started at 7 or something. I don't know, but I let him know. Okay. All right. I'm going to go ahead and get started. Now, again, if you didn't join the game, it's okay. There's only room for one more person to join anyway, because I don't have more than 20 people. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to go ahead and get started. And again, it's not about being able to play. It's just going through the exam. All right, so here we go. Okay, so again, I'm going to immediately start talking through the questions and learning how to break it down. All of the following statements about sources of underwriting information are true except. Okay, so this is an except question. And with except questions, we are actually looking for the wrong answer, the bad answer, the answer that doesn't fit. So this means there are going to be 3 things that are true about underwriting, and there will be 1 thing that is not true about underwriting, and the 1 thing that is not true is the correct answer. So we're actually looking for the false answer to this question. And that is actually how you can treat an except question, is by reading the question and then reading the answer choices and asking yourself, is this true or is this false? So let's talk about underwriting for a minute. So one of the things I always recommend when you have a question in front of you, try and grab some knowledge that you know about it before you even think about the questions or look at the questions. So with underwriting, that is the risk selection process. We are trying to determine if the person who is seeking insurance is how risky they are, and if the insurance company is willing to offer them insurance or not. And with life or health, and this works for all life or health, whether you're the life or health exam, this question works for you. We are trying to figure out how risky the person is, and there's a whole bunch that goes into underwriting. So in this case, we do need to read the answer choices to see, what's up. So again, we're looking for the false statement, the thing that is not true. And we have to be careful with these except questions because our brain likes to focus on what is true. So when I read this, and let's see, a medical exam application is typically the principal source of information. Yeah, so green is, I wanted to find a definitely true one. So green is definitely true. The application is typically the principal source of information. This is true. This is where we get the main bulk of the information, because even if we pull other things like medical exams and reports and things like that, we get it all from the application. So it is the main source of information. So green is true. And when we read this, all the following statements about sources of underwriting information are true. And we see a true one, our brain goes, pick green. But we have to focus on the fact that it says except. Except is not true. So we're looking for the false one. Okay. All right. So red, the contents of an inspection report cannot be disclosed to an applicant. That I'm feeling pretty confident is actually our answer, because what's interesting about consumer reports is a customer may not be, the insurance company doesn't necessarily have to send them a copy of the exact report, but they do have to let you know. In fact, what you want to remember about inspection reports is that the insurance company, if they're going to do it, they have to tell you they're going to do it 3 days before they do it. And then if you ask to see a copy of it, or if you ask to know what's in the report, they have 5 days to tell you. So I like to say it's 5 days to show you. So I like to say in consumer inspection reports, 3 to tell, 5 to show. So immediately I know red is the wrong answer, but I'm going to read the rest of them because sometimes even I mess up. An attending physician statement is a good source of information. Yes, an attending physician statement gives, in fact, I'm going to go ahead and pick red because the answer, it's going to time out, but I'm pretty sure red's going to be the correct answer here. An attending physician statement is a good source of information. This is true. An attending physician statement is a person's medical history. This is their doctor informing the insurance company about their past history and anything they've been diagnosed with, anything that they've been treated with. This is what the attending physician's statement is. So that is true. So yellow is true. Blue, a medical examination is typically used when benefits are large. Yes, when you are asking for a lot of insurance, they're going to want to know a lot about your medical history. And so they're going to want to do a medical exam. That is true. And then again, the green, the application is typically the principal or main source of underwriting. That is true as well. So even though they may pull an APS, attending physician statement, even though they may pull a medical exam, even though they may pull an inspection report, even though they may get information from the MIB, the main source is always the application. So yellow, blue, and green are all true. And red is false, which is why red is our correct answer. So red is the correct answer. Okay. All right, I'm going through some of the comments before. Yeah, it's not important that you get into the game. Yes, I love your comment, Emerald. I'm having oh no, wait, sorry. Who was it that said that? Williams. I'm having pregnancy pressure in my gut just sitting here watching you do this. I don't feel anything, just so you know. I don't feel anything right now. No pain. It's literally just my water that has broken. Nothing else has actually happened since then. Okay. All right, so next question. Which of the following is an eligibility requirement for Social Security income benefits? So this is a health question, a health exam question. So with Social Security income benefits, we have to know that this is a system that and again, try to recall what you can know before reading the answer choices. Like try and figure out the answer before you even look. And you're pulling in the knowledge that you've studied and learned. So what is required? Social Security income disability is a system that you have to pay into in order to access. It's not free. When you work and you have a W-2 job, you're actually paying money into the Social Security system. And you have to do that for a certain period of time before you're then allowed to take from the Social Security system. And that is true for whether it's disability or retirement. And when it comes to disability, in order to be eligible, you have to be what we call fully insured. You have to be fully insured. Technically, currently insured works as well if you're not old enough or haven't had the chance to work long enough. They do accept currently insured. But between these two answer choices, they almost always want you to choose fully because it's the most accurate. It's the most for sure way that you will definitely get disability is if you are fully insured. So I would go with fully insured on this one. Again, currently insured does say that you are eligible if you have so many credits within a certain period of time. But again, because both are an option, we're going to go with fully insured. So I'm going to assume the answer is green. Blue says at least 1 year of disability. If you studied Social Security disability, you need to know that the disability is expected to last 1 year or more, but you don't need to have been disabled for a year before you get it. Although most people take a really long time to get approved, so they probably have been disabled for a year before they get it. Being at least age 50 has nothing to do with it. It's Medicare that has an age requirement, and Social Security retirement. You have to be 65 or something to get Social Security retirement. But when it comes to disability, you can be any age that you become disabled, you can sign up for Social Security. You may not qualify, but you can. Age is not a factor when it comes to disability. Age is only a factor when it comes to Social Security retirement and Medicare, which is part of the social insurance that the government offers. So our answer here is fully insured. Again, you're not wrong if you think currently insured, but the very best correct answer is going to be fully insured. And again, let me know if you have any questions in the chat box. I'm watching the chat box as well as the waiting room. So if you get kicked out, I'll let you back in from the waiting room. So watching both of those. If an individual becomes totally and permanently disabled, Social Security benefits may begin after. So when will you get your Social Security benefits? Oh, I'm explaining this answer. Sorry, I was waiting for people to answer. All right, so what we need to know here is Social Security has a waiting period. So if I become totally permanently disabled, which is a requirement of Social Security, totally and permanently disabled for at least 12 months or more, and or expected to last in result in my early death, there is a 5-month waiting period. A 5-month waiting period. Okay, thank you, Mary. So you have to, if you do become disabled and you fill out your application for Social Security and you get approved, you will not receive any payments for the first 5 months that you are disabled. And that is why, as an insurance agent, you want to sell people their own disability income policy, because Social Security, one, requires totally and permanent, expected to result in your early death. That's a very strict definition. And most people are disabled for, if they get disabled, it's like for, a year or two, and not permanent, just a little bit. So you want to be able to educate people that people say, well, if I get disabled, I'll just go on Social Security. It is really hard to just get on Social Security. And 75% of people, even more than that, are denied the first time that they apply. So it's very important that people get their own private disability plan. And this is one of the things that you should explain to them, is that Social Security has a 5-month waiting period. So if you were to rely on Social Security, you wouldn't get any money for the first 5 months, if you even get approved the first time anyway. When they buy their own disability policy, they can get paid on they can be eligible on day one, technically, if they purchase a 0-day elimination, or even 30 days after their disability. They get to pick what their waiting period is, and we call it an elimination on an individual disability. They get to pick how long they're waiting for the money. With Social Security, it's always 5 months. It is always a 5-month waiting period on Social Security disability. And again, we will have a mix of life and health here. So I know we just had a couple of health back to back, but they're all mixed and jumbled together. I'm one of those. Social Security wait is terrible. Yes, it is. All right. The misstatement of age provision gives the insurance company the right to. So this is life and health. This is a provision question, which is highly tested in all states. So again, let's try to recall information about what we know. What is misstatement of age? This is when people, when they're filling out their application, inadvertently, on purpose, whatever, doesn't matter, put the wrong age down. So like maybe if I'm, let's say you're my agent and you're filling out an application for me, and I tell you that I'm, 35, but you accidentally transpose it and you put 53. So now the insurance company thinks I'm about 20 years older than I actually am, and it can change things. Or what if I say I'm 32, but the insurance company, somebody wrote 23, and then they think I'm much younger than what I am. So the key thing, and the word that you want to just tattoo in your mind when it comes to misstatement of age is adjust. Misstatement of age, adjust. Misstatement of age, adjust. Misstatement of age, adjust. Misstatement of age, adjust. The key thing about misstatement of age is that it allows the insurance company to adjust the benefits. So if again, you said you were 35, they put 53, they can adjust the benefits. You said you were 32, they put 23, they can adjust the benefits to the correct age. So our answer here is adjust. And as long as you can remember the word adjust, misstatement of age, adjust, misstatement of age, adjust, misstatement of age, adjust, you're going to be able to pick the right answer. None of these have the word adjust in it. And the chances of your state exam having more than one question with the word adjust is unlikely. So now technically they may say adjust the premium, but adjust the benefits payable, they're allowed to do that. Now, one thing, since we're on this question, that I want to point out, and because provisions are so highly tested for both life and health everywhere, is that there's something called time limit on certain defenses or incontestability. And so on life, it's called incontestability, and on health, it's called time limit on certain defenses. And either one basically says if they discover anything in the first 2 years of the policy that is incorrect, they can deny the claim, but only during those first 2 years. After the 2 years, they have to cover all claims as normal. The exam will attempt to trick you by saying a question that'll say, you know, Sarah's age was misstated on her insurance, but the insurance company didn't discover it until 3 years in, which is after time limit or incontestability. What will the insurance company do? Adjust, 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 adjust. The thing about misstatement of age is it does not apply to incontestability or time limit on certain defenses. So basically, whether or not the insurance company discovers the misstatement of age 1 month in, 1 year in, 2 years in, 5 years in, 10 years in, doesn't matter. As soon as they discover that your age is the wrong age, they are going to adjust the policy. So as soon as they discover your age is the wrong age, they adjust the policy, okay? Doesn't apply to time limit on certain defenses, does not apply to incontestability. All right, I see a question. Wouldn't that be unintentional representation? And if it's material intentional, then jail time, correct? Okay, so for whatever reason, and maybe, well, actually, this is the reason that another insurance agent told me, is he said that when it comes to age, the insurance, they just adjust it. They don't try to do anything with it. They don't call you a liar. They just adjust it. And I guess this is because back in the day, it was very common for women to say they were younger and men to say they were older. And so insurance companies just were like, whatever, we're going to make a provision that allows us to adjust it when we discover it. And then a lot of times it could be an accident. It's so easy for people to transpose 53 instead of 35, right? So they, or 3 instead of a 5, or 3 and somebody read it like an 8. So I guess it's kind of common to some extent. So they just across the board will adjust it when they discover it. And they'll even backdate the adjustment if necessary. So they don't really prosecute or go after misstatement of age. And there shouldn't ever be jail time on an insurance policy unless you outright committed fraud, collected benefits, and did a full-on scam. But if they discover that you gave them wrong information, they simply void the policy and move on. They're not going to take you to jail, only if they've paid you. And then it becomes, a bigger case of fraud. Okay, so misstatement of age, adjust, misstatement of age, adjust, misstatement of age, adjust. All right. All the following are true about an agent or producer except. So one thing I want to talk about here, agent or producer, same, tomato, tomato. There's no difference if they use the word agent or they use the word producer. Think of it as the same thing, okay? And that's for every state exam in every state. Agent, producer, agent, same, okay? So again, this is an except question, and this is true for life or health. So 3 of these things will be true. 3 of these things are accurate. One of them is not true. One of them is not accurate, okay? So let's go ahead and read through each one to find out. Again, 3 are true. 1 is false. We are looking for the false answer. So all the following are true about an agent producer except insurers are responsible for acts of all their agents. True or false? That is true. The insurance company is responsible for their agent. That is true. Yellow. Agents must keep their records for at least 3 years. Now, I'm pretty sure this is pulling from an Arizona exam, which is pretty true in Arizona. But the number may be different for you. Check your state law, but I'm pretty sure that one's true. I'm going to go on to the next ones to confirm. Agents may not change policy provisions stated in the contract. That is true. That is true. Where you are not allowed to change the wording that the way that a policy is written. Now you can add or remove coverages that are allowed to be added or removed. But when they say change policy provisions, they literally mean change the wording, and you are not allowed to do that. So that makes blue true. Green, notice of claim to an agent is the same as notice to the insurer. That one is true. I feel like I sometimes I get tricked with these questions. So it's probably yellow that is false. Let's see, what are they? Oh, wait, insurers are responsible for, look at, they tricked me. They tricked me. Look at that. I got lost because of one word. Okay, so red is actually the false answer. So let me break this down. Let's talk about why green is, or why red is wrong. But notice, let me finish the green one. Notice of claim to the agent is the same as notice to the insurer. That is actually true. So when a customer notifies their insurance agent that a claim has happened, it's the same as notifying the insurance company. So notifying an agent about a claim is the same as notifying the company, because the agent is the company to the customer. That's called law of agency, where to the customer, you are the knowledge of the agent is knowledge of the insurer. And so when you notify the agent of a claim, it's the same as notifying the company. And then the agent's responsibility is to help you file and submit that claim. Now let's talk about why red is wrong and how I missed it. I missed it because of this one word. The insurer is responsible for the acts of you selling insurance, but not all acts. So when they say all acts, they're literally saying anything that you do in your life, even in your personal life. So let's say in your personal life, you have road rage one day and you beat up another driver on the road. Is the insurer responsible for you? No, they are not. They are only responsible for your acts that you do under the contract. And I missed that word all, which is what made me have the wrong answer. And then because this is based on Arizona, I was like, is it 3 years or not? So that's, again, this is an Arizona number. Your numbers may be a little bit different. Sometimes it's 5 years, sometimes it's 3. It's most commonly 3. But that's what threw me off. And I missed the word all. So that is important to note. Insurers are responsible for the acts of the agent done under the contract of selling insurance, but not every single act of your whole life. So the red answer is actually the true answer. So see, they even get me. It's okay that you get some wrong. And here's another test point I want to talk about. I had a student one time. She knew that out of 100 questions, she needed 70 correct, right? You need 70 correct to get 70%. And when she was taking her test, she had a piece of paper. Everyone usually gets like a piece of paper or a piece of like a whiteboard that they can write notes on. Every time she was not confident in an answer, she marked it down as being wrong. So she said, oh, I got that one wrong. 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 Every time she was simply not confident. When she got to 30, her mind checked, I failed the exam. I failed the exam. I got 30 wrong. I done failed. And when she hit submit, she failed by just a couple of points. The thing is she didn't actually know if she got all 30 of those wrong. She just wasn't confident that she got it right. And then every time she put wrong, 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 she was lowering her mindset to see fail, fail, fail. So then when she hit submit, she saw fail. Okay. So when you're taking the test and you're not 100% confident, don't assume you got it wrong. You just aren't confident. There's a difference between I am fully confident that this is the answer and I'm not confident. But there are 4 choices and you may have landed on the right one. And if you've listened to my videos over and over again, the chances of the knowledge being in your head is there. So here's another example. I had a girl in our platinum package. So when you purchase platinum, you have direct access to me to ask me questions while you're studying. And she she took her exam and she passed it. And she came back, she said, I had this question that bugged me. It asked me about, agent authority or certificate of authority or something like a producer appointment. That's what it was. She goes, it asked me about a producer appointment and it was choosing months. I chose 12 months. She's like, I don't know why, but I chose 12. But I don't remember ever learning that. And I said, did you watch the gold videos? And she said, yes, I did. She goes, I watched them constantly while I was cooking, while I was cleaning, while I was studying, while I was in the shower. Like she just had the gold videos on repeat. I said, well, I taught that in gold. I taught about a producer's appointment and it does last 12 months. So you chose the right answer. So just because you don't consciously remember that you know that topic or that you know that answer, the fact that she had been listening to my videos on repeat made her pick 12 months, which was the correct answer. So it is not necessary for you to remember that you remember. It is not necessary for you to consciously go, oh, I remember that that is exactly 12 months. There are going to be times where you're taking the test and you just simply pick an answer because something in your gut says pick that answer. And it's because you know it without knowing it. You know it without remembering it. Keep in mind, you are learning so much information, so much knowledge is being stuffed into your head. And to expect you to be able to remember every single thing in the exact category in the exact way that it goes is impossible. That's my job. That's what I do. I have everything memorized. You don't need, and I consciously know what I've got. You don't need to know that. Trust that the knowledge is swirling up in there and that the right answer will come down when you expect it. So with these 2 stories, one, she wrote down every question she thought she got wrong, assumed it was wrong, and her mind checked out. She thought she failed, so she did fail. She didn't know for sure what the right answer was, but she had a gut instinct to choose 12. If this girl had marked down that this answer was wrong, even though it was right, again, she's demoralizing herself, bringing herself down by assuming she got it wrong. So don't assume that you're getting it wrong and pretend that you actually got it right anyway, because there's actually a thing called the placebo effect. And the placebo effect says that what you believe to be true becomes true. So every time you're answering a question and you're like, I don't know if I got that right or wrong, assume that you got it right. I guessed it correctly. I'm not confident in knowing the answer, but I bet I guessed it correctly. Oh, I got that one right. Oh, I got that one right. That is going to lift your spirits, remove the fear, and allow you to better access the information in your brain. But if you go, oh my God, I got that one wrong. Oh my God, I got that one wrong. Oh my God, I got that one wrong. You're activating your fear, which lowers your ability to access the correct answer. So pretend you got it right, because you're more like you'll feel better either way. And when you feel better, you perform better. Okay. They actually did one of my favorite placebo studies that they ever did was there was 10 people who needed a knee surgery, and they put all 10 people, they told them they were all going to get the surgery, and they cut everyone's knee to have a scar, but they only performed the surgery on half of the people. All 10 had a scar. All 10 woke up from anesthesia and told that they had the surgery, and they had visible evidence that there was a scar on their knee. But only 5 of them actually had the surgery. And afterward, all 10 of them had healing. All 10 of them, their knees improved. So whether they had the surgery or not. So that means the 5 literally healed their body with their own belief system in their mind. Okay. So baby, I got it. He wants me to go faster through the questions, but I'm like, it's important to know these things.
Yes, but you get sometimes.
But it's important. Mindset is important. You haven't even passed your exam yet.
I don't have to. I got you.
I love you.
Love you.
So it is important. It is important to believe that you're getting it right. It's important that you think you're getting it right, because your mind can literally trick itself into choosing the right answers. Okay. All right. Question. Okay. So some of you are saying there is an option. Okay. So here's the thing. When you're taking the test, there is an option, no matter who you're taking it with, there is an option to mark for review, which basically allows, because your test is like 100 questions or however many it is. If you, let's say that you don't know the answer of number 2, and so you write down number 2 on your paper. If you don't click mark for review or whatever they call it, and you wanted to go back to it later, you would literally have to go click, 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 all the way back to number 2. But if you click mark for review, it allows you to easily jump back to number 2. You want to be cautious about this. You want to be cautious about marking or flagging for review. So this is another test thing, it is usually your best bet to trust your gut and move on, trust your gut, move on, trust your gut, move on. Flagging too many of them to review triggers your overthinking anxiety brain, and then changing the wrong answer. I had a student in Florida. She was acing every quiz, every practice exam we gave her. And I told her bosses, this is back when I was teaching 30 people at one time for insurance companies. This was United Healthcare. I was like, oh, she's a first-time passer for sure. You can expect her to go in and come out with a pass. She failed with a 69. And I said, girl, what did you do? She goes, well, I went back and I changed some of my answers because I thought I got them wrong. And I was like, oh, do not change your answers. I was like, trust your gut. So the next time she took the exam, she came out with like an 89. And she said, I changed no answers. So there is, statistically, they have found that people who change their answers change a correct answer to a wrong answer because they overthought, they overanalyzed. It is better to simply trust your gut. So when it comes to the mark for review to be able to come back later, just be cautious about that. For some people, it is so effective and they're so glad they did it. But for the majority of people, it just triggers overthinking. So my recommendation is only use the mark for review if you literally have no idea. If you're like, that question might as well be Chinese to me, I do not understand it at all. And then the goal is that as you go through the rest of the exam, it'll trigger a memory or something that will help you answer that question. But if you're just a little bit like, I'm not sure. I kind of think it's C. So I'm going to mark for, don't do it on those ones. Just trust your gut and move on. Only do it generally when you have no idea. That's my advice. But again, for some people, it is so important that they mark for review and go back. So just be cautious when it comes to that. Okay. Can you flag? Just make sure to go back and review your questions before you submit. Make sure you've answered it. Here's another thing too. Don't leave it blank. Some exam companies allow you to leave it blank and move on. Some of them don't. Never leave it blank. At least put something in there. Because the thing is if you run out of time and it's blank, you definitely got it wrong. If you at least chose one of the answers, you have a 25% chance of being correct. So never leave it blank. If you don't know, choose something and then move on and mark for review so you can come back to it. It is like the law of large numbers, yes. Peter's class is very helpful. He helps with showing you how to look for clues, how to do the process, eliminate, always, never, completely, never, and only. Yeah, Peter's class is great. He talks about this differently than I do. And you can actually purchase a copy of his class going over how to handle questions for as little as $7. So if you want a copy of that, make sure you let me know. Actually, why I got 69. I went back and changed some answers. Yeah, don't do it. Don't do it. They have a lot of review on the practice exam for Kaplan. So yeah, okay. All right, so next question. A producer uses the needs approach when selling life insurance to determine. So we got a life insurance question here. So this is not a highly tested topic when it comes to life insurance, but they usually talk about the needs approach and the life approach. What's the other one called? I forget what the other one is called, but the needs approach is based on what will the family need after this person dies. Oh yeah, it's human life value. Okay, so the other one is the human life approach, and the other one is needs approach. The human life approach will look at how much money would that person have earned if they had been alive. So like if you make $60,000 a year and you're 40 years old and you're probably going to retire at 65, there are 25 years of you making 60,000 that will be gone if you're dead. And that is what the human life approach looks at. The needs approach says you are a family with 3 kids who are all under the ages of 10, and you're going to need this much money to be able to support your spouse will need this much money to be able to support them, and will need this much money to cover your final expenses. So the answer here is green. How much coverage is necessary to cover final expenses? How much money do you need? Does your family need? And how much money will your funeral cost you? So this is just a different way when you sit down and you're selling life insurance. This is just a different way of helping people calculate how much life insurance they should have. You either do the needs approach, where how much money is your family going to need, or you do the human value life approach, which is how much money would you have made if you had been alive? And of course, the human life value is going to be significantly higher than the needs approach. So then it can impact the premium. And that's another thing to consider. Do you have a class on life and health like you do on P&C? Yeah, the gold life and health. I'm not sure. Yes. And then this class right now, what type of class? Yeah, I get the gold life and health is definitely the best. A 10-year level renewable term insurance policy. So there's a life question, obviously. So we would have to read the answer choices to know the answer here, but let's talk about level renewable term. So 10-year means that it's good for 10 years. And at the end of 10 years, it's renewable, which means you can start it again. But let's go ahead and look at the answers. Okay. May be renewed with a new contestability period. Incontestability would go away because you don't renew a new contestability. May be renewed without a physical exam. That is generally true. If it's renewable, you don't need to do anything. You just renew it automatically. May not be renewed. That is false, because if it's renewable, it's renewable. Must be renewed at the same rates. That's actually false. So when you have a renewable policy, the point of a renewable policy is that you can just get another one. You can just turn it on again for another 10 years or however many years it is, without a medical exam, without answering medical questions. What the difference though is they will consider that you are indeed 10 years older. So if you're 10 years older, when you go to renew it, they will take that into account. So it will not be renewed at the same rates. It will acknowledge that you are 10 years older than what you are, or whatever the term is. So if it's a 20-year renewable term, they will acknowledge that you are 20 years older and your premium would be based on being 20 years older. But they're going to assume the same health that you were 20 years ago, because again, it may be renewed without a physical exam. So our answer here is blue. It may be renewed without a physical exam. You don't need to have a physical exam in order to get your thing. So that is the correct answer. Yes, gold covers, yes, I have gold life and gold health. You buy them as a bundle, same price. Whether you need one or the other, you just skip what you don't need. There's no price difference to get one or the other. You just buy them together. Okay. Which of the following parties may take cash surrender on an annuity? So who is allowed to take a cash surrender? So when we're, and this is a life insurance question. So when we're thinking about an annuity, a surrender is taking from the annuity before it annuitizes. So when we have a, you don't need to mark on the screen. Let me actually turn that off. And then I need to, you're not, don't touch the screen. I don't know how to turn it off, but I got it. Okay, whatever. All right. Okay, anyway, there we go. Okay, I turned it off. Okay, so an annuity is like a savings account where you put money in, put money in, put money in, put money in. And then, and let's say that you want to, save money for retirement. So while you're young and you're working, you put money in, put money in, put money in. Then you retire and the annuity switches from putting money in, putting money in, putting money in to sending money out, sending money out, sending money out. You're basically creating your own income for yourself when you're older by saving money now. And then later you take it out as income. Once it annuitizes, once it switches from taking money in to paying money out, you cannot surrender it. It is locked in stone. There's nothing you can do other than receive the monthly payments as scheduled. The only time that you're allowed to surrender it is when you're in the putting money in phase. So before it hits the annuitization of switching from in to out, you are allowed to surrender. So who is allowed to surrender the annuity? The person who owns the annuity, the person who bought the annuity, they're the ones who are allowed to surrender it. So I would go with blue, which is the contract owner. The person who actually purchased the annuity is the one to decide if they're going to end the annuity. Now, the annuitant is the person who receives the money, but I don't think they necessarily have power. So I'm not like 100%. I'm pretty sure it should just be blue. So let me look at it. Yes, it is just blue. Okay. So you may think, well, the annuitant, the person who receives the money, but technically you can be like a grandparent and buy an annuity for your children. So that like if you want to buy a college fund, like I can start an annuity for my daughter so that she can have money when she's older. I can save money now when she's little. And then when she gets older, she has this fund that she can draw money from, maybe to go to college or whatever. It's not up to her to decide to take the cash out now. It's up to the actual owner. Now, if the annuitant is the owner, then they're the owner. and they can make the decision. But it's the contract owner, it's the person who bought the annuity who's allowed to decide if we take money out of the annuity. The pre-existing condition exclusion in disability insurance is designed to protect the insurance company against. So this is a more of a health question, but this concept is in both life and health, where anything that the insurance company is doing to like, why do they do all this underwriting? Why do they ask us all these medical questions? Why do they ask us about our background? The reason that they do all of that is to prevent against adverse selection. So adverse selection is basically a very risky risk. So the simplest way, like if somebody's already dying, like let's say I have a terminal illness, I'm already dying, and I go to buy life insurance, would an insurance company sell it to me? No, because I'm already dying, and they know for sure I'm going to die. They're not going to want to accept a $28 premium and pay out $250,000 when I die the next month. They would not do that. Adverse selection is the risky people. Now, it's not to say super risky, like they're definitely going to die risky. That's an extreme example, but adverse selection could also just be someone who has, you know, an illness like diabetes. May not kill you right now, may not be a huge thing, especially if you're monitoring it and maintaining it, but it could lead to problems later on. Adverse selection could also be someone who's maybe very healthy, but loves to jump out of airplanes. And now they're super risky because they like to engage in, you know, risky behavior. So I feel like I want to sit back more. So I'm just, but I need my mic close enough. So that is adverse. So the insurance company, and it's not to say that they immediately decline all adverse selection. Okay. They're not going to decline all adverse selection, but they need to know about adverse selection, and they need to be able to decline some of them. So they need to be able to tell people no. So the pre-existing condition exclusion is basically saying you have a past medical problem, and we can exclude that problem from your disability insurance so that we are not insuring super risky risks. They don't want to insure super risky risks. This is why, like, people with bad driving records have to pay really high premiums, and or they may not be able to get insurance because they're just so likely to have an accident. So the pre-existing condition exclusion prevents against adverse selection. The underwriting that the company does is to prevent against adverse selection. The field underwriting that you do as an agent is to prevent against adverse selection. It's about not insuring the super risky risks or being able to charge them the appropriate premium. So yellow is our correct answer here. If I do go into labor, I will turn off. I will leave the class. You just had a contraction, I saw in your face. Kind of. It's hard to, like I said, I have had worse period pains than I have had what I have felt so far. So if it stays like that, I am happy. But I imagine the contractions are going to get much worse. But so far, I'm not really feeling too much, but anything could change in an instant. All right, next question. The purpose of the co-insurance clause in major medical policies is to, so this is a health insurance question. Peter's watching, we're watching to see if we'll see a birth. Okay. All right, so co-insurance clause, major medical. So what is the purpose? So co-insurance is making the customer, the insured, pay part of the medical bill. So co-insurance says the insurance company will pay some and you will pay some. We will share the medical bill. We will share the medical bill. What is the purpose of doing that? And how funny, look at the green answer. Avoid costs associated with pregnancy and childbirth. What a funny answer choice. The purpose of coinsurance, so I haven't even read the rest of them. I only saw the green one. I haven't read the rest of them. The purpose is to share the medical bill so that one, the insurance company doesn't have to spend too much money, and two, also to help the insured maybe not file so many claims. So we're going to find if one of them has that answer. Red, force the insured to pay larger claims from personal resources. No, it's not. It feels that way for sure, but that's not the purpose of it. Blue, encourage the insured to satisfy the deductible. That's going to happen regardless anyway before coinsurance kicks in. Yellow, motivate the insured to minimize unnecessary care. Exactly that. So that is like the two things that I said. One, share the bill, and two, prevent the insured from, filing too many claims. So it minimizes. So you'll think twice if you're like, well, I'm going to have to pay, 20% of this medical bill. Do I really need to go to the doctor, or am I okay? So that would be one of the purposes. So I would go with yellow as being the correct answer here. And that is our correct answer. Okay, again, let me know if you have any questions. Puppy's probably, they're all right here. They're constantly next to me since I've gotten pregnant. I don't know where the little, the little one's here and the big one's there. So they're all nearby. All of the following are true about adjustable life insurance except, this one might get me because I am not super strong in adjustable. And here's the thing, neither do you need to be. When you're taking the life and health, when you're taking the life exam, life or health, life, whatever, the two most common policies you will get the majority of questions on is term and whole. You can expect a couple of questions to come about adjustable, universal, variable, but they focus on term versus whole. So that becomes my focus, is term versus whole. But let's see if we can sort this out. So when we think about adjustable life, the point of adjustable life is to be able to change what you need to change if you need to. Like a lot of people who have fluctuating income. So let's say like you're a real estate agent, you sell a house, you make 20 grand. But then for the next 3 months, you don't sell anything, you make no money. And then 4 months down the line, you sell another house, you make 50 grand. Like your income can come and go as a real estate agent. It can go up or down. So having an adjustable life policy will help you flip-flop your policy around based on your income fluctuating. So some of the things that you can adjust could be the benefits, the premium, and you can even adjust it from term to whole if you want to. So let's look at these answer choices and see if we can sort anything out. So again, we're looking for the false answer. False answer. Adjustments may cause a change in the coverage plan initially is selected. Yes, that is true. If you make an adjustment, it's going to look different than what you originally selected. Yellow, it is a type of whole life. It can be whole life, but it's not automatically whole life. So that could be our correct wrong, AKA wrong, right? Not true answer. So we're going to put a pin in yellow. A physical exam is always required when premiums are adjusted. I don't think so. But I don't know. I'm gonna have to read the rest of them. The face amount, premium, or length of the protection may be adjusted. That is true. You can change how much, you can change your premium, and you can change your length. Yes. So I am between yellow and blue. Now, blue could make sense. It's not to say necessarily that the policy is convertible or renewable. So they may make you, again, like I said, I'm not 100% strong and adjustable. And the only reason I don't love yellow is because it could be term. One of the things is I'm pretty sure you're allowed to switch it from term versus whole. So let's see. Yeah, so it's the correct answer is blue, which actually makes yellow true. So, okay, it is a type of whole life. I assume since you could adjust it, that it doesn't always make it a type of whole life, but I guess it does. But again, here is where it is not required. I pass these exams. When I go and sit and take a life and health exam, I score a 90%. I score a 90%. So I don't need to know every answer. And Emerald here, she says, dude, you didn't pay attention to the fact that there's always in there. And that is one of Peter's tips, is he says, when you see words like always or never, or forget some of them, like, because Peter breaks these down differently than I do. Peter, are you here, by the way? Are you here, Peter?
I am.
Okay, tell us about your trick there.
Well, there's a few words that are, nothing's 100%, but there's a few words that are most of the time going to be a wrong answer. And they would be words of completeness, like always, never, completely, because almost every rule we have an exception somewhere, right? So hardly anything is always. And when you see always or only or never, be suspicious that that's probably a wrong answer. So that's my rule about, I call those words qualifying words. And so we just pay attention to them. Again, it's not 100%, but you can, it works nice on accept questions if you're looking for the wrong answer, because when you see only and stuff like that, that's probably the wrong answer. And however, yeah, I guess it worked in this one. We're looking for the wrong answer and we have this word always. And that's probably the wrong answer.
Yeah, I
I
love that, Peter.
I'm just loading up on towels for the big event.
we have towels. We're ready too. Yeah, David's got them all stacked out. We got the birthing pool ready. It's not been blown up yet because it does blow up very fast, but this is exciting. Yes. So thank you, Peter. So yeah, so he always says, pay attention to the words always, only, never, completely. They're usually indicators that it's a wrong answer, or not in the cases of accept questions that it's actually the correct answer because it's the false answer. So remember, accept questions are always looking for the false answer. So false answers have always, never, completely in them, because very rarely is something 100% never, always, or completely. There's always some kind of little weird rule in there or something. So thank you, Peter, for that. And this is why I love having both of us. You can take a test tip class with Peter and he explains these things. And he has a lot of little test tricks. Mine are different. Mine are a lot more about, mindset and my way of breaking questions down, but he has his way, and you guys get both ways if you listen to both of us. And that's what makes it so amazing. Thank you so much, Peter, for that. And thank you, Emerald, for pointing that out. And Emerald is clearly saying everyone needs to buy Peter's Take a Test Tip class because she loved it. Yes, she's all about it. It is available for sale, $7 for 48 hours, $17 if you want to own it. Which of the following would have the highest mortality rate? So this is kind of on the life insurance side, and this requires that you know what the word mortality means. So mortality is being mortal, and mortal means that you can die. So if you're immortal, you'll never die. If you're mortal, you can die. And so what they're basically asking here is, who of these choices below is closer to death? Who's most closest to death here of our choices? Now we have 50-year-old male, 50-year-old female, 60-year-old male, 60-year-old female. Now right away we can remove the 50-year-olds, because if you're 60, you're closer to death than if you're 50, right? The older you get, the closer to death you are. It's just the numbers. It's just statistics, okay? So the closer I'll make sure you guys get the link at the end for Peter's class. The older you are, the closer you are to death. So then it becomes between choosing male and female. Statistically speaking, law of large numbers says women will live longer than males. Women live longer than males. I think our average age is like 73, and I forget what it is to men. The joke, not that I believe that this is true, but this joke will probably land for most of you, is that the reason women live longer is because we nag men to death. Okay, so women live longer than men. So who has the highest mortality rate, AKA who is the closest to death out of all of these choices? I'm going to go with the 60-year-old male, because a 60-year-old female actually is, again, going to be expected to live longer. Women actually have better insurance rates when it comes to life and health than males do. But probably, I think the more reason for that is because we take care of ourselves and we go to the doctor and we take our vitamins and we, like I was making fun of David the other day. I get out of a shower, I've got like 20 things I got to do. I got to put on my lotion. I've got to take care of my skin. I got to do my hair. He gets out of the shower, brushes his hair, and walks out. I'm like, what the heck? And then, of course, I'm taking all my vitamins, I'm doing all my things, and he'll sit there and rub in the dirt. You know what I mean? So I think it's really related to the way that women take care of ourselves, whereas men don't. So I'm going to choose a 60-year-old male, and that is correct. I can't technically go back to the last question. But if you have the copy of the recording, you can check that out. All right. Once the insurer receives notice of claim from the insurer is responsible for. So this is a health question coming out of provisions. So again, provisions is a highly tested topic, and notice of claim is one of the provisions that talks about when the insured is required, it talks about when the insured is required to notify the insurer that there is a claim. So the insured has to notify the insurer of a claim, and they generally have to do that within 20 days from the date of the loss. So if I break my arm and I want to submit a claim, I have to do it within 20 days within reason. Now, this is asking, what is the insurer responsible for? So there's actually, when it comes to, so what's interesting, there's this whole section called claims procedures. And then underneath claims procedures is notice of claim, claims forms, proof of loss, time payment of claims, payment of claims. And each one of these is actually their own single provision. And you need to know about each individual one. And you need to know whose job is to do what. And we have extensive videos in gold that talk about this, the claims procedures, as well as I'm sure anytime Peter has taught health provisions, he goes into this too. So once the insured notifies the insurance company, hey, I broke my arm, hey, I got my leg cut off, hey, I got sick, whatever it is, the next job is the insurer has to mail the insured claims forms that the insured fills out, which become the proof of loss. So the insured calls the insurer, I have a claim, I broke my arm, leg, whatever. Insurer says, okay, we're going to send you claims forms and then fill them out, please, and send them back. I fill them out, send them back. That is my proof of loss. When I fill out the claims forms, it becomes my proof of loss. I submit that to the insurer, and then they pay me the claim. So this is basically asking about the first two steps. You notify the insurer, hey, I broke my leg. Their job, we're going to send you claims forms. So the best answer here would be yellow, sending claims forms. So notify them, send the forms, fill out the proof of loss, pay the claim. And you want to know each of those provisions, and you want to know the rules for those provisions. And provisions is a highly tested topic. which is not a reason to buy life insurance on the life of a child. Okay, so many reasons to buy life insurance on a child. Let's go through these. To provide cash value for college, you can do that. You can buy a whole life policy, and a whole life policy actually allows the child to take money out, to borrow money from that policy, to provide the child with benefits in the event that a parent dies. That you would need, the child would need a policy on the parent, not a policy on the child. So I think yellow is our correct answer, not a reason. To provide for the child's retirement, yeah, I mean, technically, I think you could use your whole life policy for that. To provide coverage in the event the child dies, that's true. If you have a whole life policy, if you have any policy on a child and they die, you can then use that money to pay for their funeral. That would be one of the most common reasons to get life insurance on a child. So I think the answer is green or yellow, because if you buy life insurance on the life of the child, it only pays out if the child dies, not the parent. So to me, yellow makes the most sense. There we go. And it's the correct answer there. So whole life, apparently, David has been watching a bunch of like finance videos so that we can make smart financial decisions. And apparently buying whole life policies is one of the things that some of the wealthiest people do. So there's definitely a ton of reasons and benefits, like money for college, money for child retirement, available in whole life policies. So, but again, if this is a policy on the life of a child, it would only pay out if the child dies, not if the parent dies. So in order for yellow to be correct, it would need to say, why would a parent buy a policy on themselves? And it would be so that the child could get the money. Is this like insurable interest? A little bit. A parent pretty much always has insurable interest on a child. So they can, you can always buy insurance on your child, but it needs to be for, a good reason. On a modified endowment contract, MEC, the IRS considers which of the following to be a material change. Oh, I'm going to tell you, I don't know this answer. I would have to. So let's talk about that. MECs. Just because it's in your study material doesn't mean it shows up on the exam or shows up a lot on the exam. MECs is one of the things that is not super highly tested. 1, maybe 3 questions about MEC. And usually MECs will ask you about the 7-pay test, or once an MEC, always an MEC. So an MEC is when you buy whole life insurance, you get a lot of tax benefits if it stays whole life. And people found this out. They're like, oh my God, if we buy whole life, we get a lot of tax benefits via this whole life policy. So we're going to buy a whole life, put a ton of money in it, and we don't have to pay taxes on it. And the government figured out people were doing this. So then they created what is called the 7-pay test, which basically says if the premiums paid in the first 7 years are more than what is needed to pay off the entire policy, they're going to label it an MEC. And an MEC, once it's an MEC, it's always an MEC. And basically it takes it from being whole life to a modified endowment contract, which then allows the government to tax it. So they're basically figuring out people who are trying to evade taxes by using the 7-pay test, and then they make them pay taxes on it. Now, material change, material is going to definitely be something significant. So something very significant. And when I look at these options, the thing that I see that is super significant when it comes to a policy would be an increase in benefits. So that is why I would choose that answer, but I'm not 100% correct on this because, again, MECs are not highly tested. And I don't think I've ever seen a question related to material change related to an MEC. So it's not something that I've studied or memorized. But when I think about materials, material is definitely something very important. And when it comes to thinking about a whole life policy, increasing the benefits would be very important because that changes a lot. So I would go with red, and I'm correct. So again, here's an example of, you may not know everything, but if you know material means super important, and you think about, okay, absolute assignment just changes the owner to someone else, but it doesn't change anything about the policy still stays as it is. A change in beneficiary designation, beneficiaries can be changed left and right if they're irrevocable. So that's not super important. Decrease in the amount of dividends paid, that has to do with the insurance company, collecting enough premium or not. That really doesn't impact the policy. So then the only one to me that stood out was an increase in benefits, because that would significantly change the policy. So that's why I chose red, an increase in benefits, when I saw the word material, even though I didn't know this answer. So it's possible for you to be able to choose the right answer without fully knowing it. And this is why your mindset is important. Assume that you did. Assume that you chose the right answer. The state exam won't tell you if you got it right or wrong. You'll just have to move on. Just assume that you got it right. You'll feel better, and you'll be in a better state of mind to choose a better answer next time. All are true about group life insurance except. So this again is an except question. 3 answers will be true, 1 will be false. We are looking for the false answer. It is sometimes easier to acknowledge what is true before we can acknowledge what is false. So just keep that in mind. So group life insurance, you're going to get it. So I'm just talking, thinking, I'm not looking at the answer choices yet. I'm just thinking about it. It's insurance I get through my job. It's insurance that will last as long as I have my job. But if I leave my job, it won't last. Although I could take it with me if I convert it fast enough. And those are the things off the top of my head. So let's look at what we got. The employer may tax deduct the premiums paid. Pretty sure that's true. The employer pretty much always gets to tax deduct premiums. Proceeds paid to the beneficiary are taxable. Life insurance is pretty much always not taxable, but I'm getting a little caught up in, I know with disability insurance, if the employer paid the premium, then the benefits can be taxable. But I feel like with life insurance, it's a little bit different. And again, taxes, by the way, not a highly tested topic for most people. So you don't need to be super strong in taxes. The employer is the master policyholder. That is definitely true. That is always true of group life insurance, that the employer is the master policyholder. They are the group leader. They are the group sponsor. And so they get a copy of the policy. It is convertible to whole life after 31 days. That one is true. That one is true. So you have, when you quit your job, you have 31 days to take it with you. But whatever insurance you had with the company, it'll now be whole life. So it'll be a whole life policy, but you have to choose within 31 days to take it or not. After 31 days, the option goes away. So I'm going to go with proceeds paid to the beneficiary are taxable, because the one thing I want you to remember, and this is true, especially on the health exam too, is insurance that is paid for death, even if you had an accidental death and disability policy through your group employer, death benefits are always tax-free. So I'm going to go with that one. It's better to think tax-free death benefits all across the board, even though that may not always be the answer. It's almost always the answer. So I'm going to go with yellow being the incorrect answer, and I am right. So perfect. And yeah, the employer may tax deduct premiums paid. That's pretty much true across the board. If the employer pays premium for the benefit of the employee, then they get to tax deduct. Now, for policies like key person and disability, and then buy sell, they are not allowed to tax deduct the premium. But when it comes to group insurance, that's to the benefit of the employee. whenever the employer pays for something that is to the benefit of the employee, they can tax deduct it. A cancelable health policy can be canceled by. So cancelable, first of all, the insured is always allowed to cancel. So the insured, the person who is covered, always allowed to cancel. And then the insurer, when it comes to a cancelable, they can cancel anytime. So we're looking for an answer here that should say insured and insurer. Oh, and it's blue, the insured and the insurer. So one, the insured can always cancel. And then a cancelable policy is the one and only time the insurer is also allowed to cancel. And that's what makes cancelable policies actually illegal in most states and not often used. Like once you buy a policy, the only times the insurer can cancel it is like non-payment of premium, you outright lied to them. I think those are really the only two reasons once you get a policy started. You don't pay or you outright lied, committed fraud, they're allowed to cancel. Other than that, they can't just cancel on you. So we're gonna go with blue and we are correct. All right. A client who contributes to a 403B TSA on a payroll deduction basis may. So this is coming out of life taxes under retirement plans. And the one thing that I know about a 403B is that it is for nonprofits. And that is almost always the question related to 403B is that is a nonprofit organization. And I don't know the answer here, but I'm going to read them and see if I can figure it out. Red, also make deductible contributions to a Roth IRA without limit. I think anybody can go put money in a Roth IRA, but I think there's always a limit on the Roth IRA. So that would be the yellow. So yellow sounds good to me. Blue, also make non-deductible contribution. Oh, shoot, deductible, non-deductible. Yeah, I don't think a Roth IRA payment's deductible. That's a good question. I'm kind of all over the place. Here's why. Retirement plans, not highly tested. My focus is always most highly tested. And the retirement chapter on life insurance, or they may call it life taxes, or they may call it qualified retirement plans. Sometimes it has different titles. On pretty much every state exam across the board, very small tested, very, very tiny percentage. So I'm not super strong in it, which means you don't need to be super strong on it. Not also contribute to a Roth IRA. I know if it's going to be one of these, I'm leaning towards blue and green, because I'm pretty sure you don't deduct Roth IRA, because Roth IRA is after tax deductions, and I don't think you write it off further. Or you may not be allowed to because you have the 403B, but that doesn't seem to make sense. I don't know, Peter, do you know anything about this one?
I do.
Go ahead.
Well, let's just start with a regular IRA. In a regular IRA, you don't pay taxes as in the money that goes in. That means it would be tax deductible. And then later on, when we retire, that's when they'll tax us, right? That's the way a regular IRA works. No taxes today, we'll get you later. Roth reverses it. So that means I pay taxes on the money that goes in, but when I retire, the money comes out without taxes. So the only answer here that you pay taxes on the money going in is the blue one. Non-deductible means you're going to pay taxes on the money going in. And that's different than an IRA. It's a reverse of a regular IRA. So when it says non-deductible, all that means is you paid taxes on the money that went in. And that's exactly how a Roth works.
So it is blue?
Yes.
Okay, so look at that. I just want to point out, I was not 100% and I was still leading towards the right answer. This is how it can be on the exam. You do not need to be 100% of your knowing to secure the right answer. And it's okay. It's okay. See me do it. I am the insurance exam queen and I still fail. Okay. But I pass overall. So you're allowed to get so many questions wrong, and using the skills that I had in my mind of trying to deduce it was enough to actually secure the right answer. I would have
Yeah.
chosen blue and I would have been right.
I just want to say something. What Melissa did was not luck. I mean, you could say she didn't know it. She made a lucky guess. It wasn't lucky at all. There was a lot of logic that went into her thinking. She stacked all the odds in her favor. So that was not lucky. She did it all correctly.
And that's how it can be on the exam, is where I'm not confident. I'm picking up little details that, like I'm thinking deductible, not deductible, and I'm still able to narrow down. I want you to take this with you so that when you're on the exam, you're not going to feel confident about every answer. But if you've watched the videos on repeat, if you've done your studying, there should be enough knowledge in your brain to lean towards the right answer. And that's our goal. Our goal is to pass. Our goal is not to be completely knowledgeable about every single thing we're tested on. You don't need to be, okay? And the other thing too is, again, retirement plans, not often tested. And 403B, the biggest thing is knowing it's nonprofit. When I have taken these exams, the biggest thing I have seen ever asked about 403B is that it is for nonprofit charity organizations like a school or a pet shelter. Those are two common examples that I have seen. I like no taxes today. We will get you later. Thank you, Peter. Dental expense policies generally have a deductible that would apply to all the following services except, preventative care. There's almost, when it comes to dental loves preventative care. And the more preventative you are, the less problems you have. So dental plans will almost always allow you to do preventative care, sometimes for free, like you pay nothing for your 6-month cleaning. So looking at our answer choice, boom, blue is there. So blue would be our correct answer, because you hardly, if ever, have to pay a deductible to do diagnostic or preventative care when it comes to dental, because they love to catch a problem in advance. And something that is actually unique to dental versus medical may have preventative care where, like, women have a yearly women's wellness appointment where nothing may be wrong, but they check you over as a woman and stuff like that. Men have their yearly appointment, whatever. And it's not, and you don't pay anything to get it done. You just go to the doctor, get your yearly appointment done. You pay nothing, no deductible, no copay when it comes to your preventative care appointment. But one thing medical does not do is diagnostic, which is like looking for a problem before one even shows itself. And that is something that dental does. Dental is diagnostic. They will, whether you have any problems or not, they'll do an x-ray to see if there's any cavities growing before there's any physical evidence of a cavity growing to your, naked eye or feelings in your mouth. So dental loves preventative, dental loves diagnostic, which is something unique compared to medical. And then when it comes to dental, preventative, pretty much free to the customer across the board, but anything bigger than that, they're going to have to pay. Orthodontics would be something on top of your teeth, like braces. Prosthodontics would be prosthetics like dentures. Endodontics would be going into the tooth, like a root canal. And all of those are pretty intense procedures. So those are all going to be deductible based, but preventative care would not be. And that is our correct answer. All are true about a fixed annuity except. Okay, so again, we have an accept question. This is coming from the life side of the exam. We have an accept question, and that means that 3 of these are true. 1 of them is false. So 3 are true, 1 is false. So we got to read through them to find out. Monthly payments to the annuitant are made in a constant amount. That is true for all annuities. Whatever amount of money your monthly payment is, it's that payment that you get. The purchasing power goes up in times of deflation. I think that's the opposite of a fixed. That would be more like a variable annuity. So I think our yellow might be the correct answer. The annuitant bears the risk investment. Ooh, that one sounds more better. The reason that one sounds more, because a fixed annuity is basically saying they're guaranteeing your rates. Like you'll know exactly how much money you're earning and how much money you're getting. Whereas a variable annuity, it can fluctuate depending on the stock market. So when it's fixed, the investment risk is actually on the insurance company. When it's variable, the investment risk is on the insured or the annuitant. The purchasing power goes down in times of inflation. So here's the thing with the annuities and the deflation, inflation, stuff like that. Not a highly tested topic. So again, I'm not super strong in it because I focus on most highly tested, most likely to see. But I know that blue is wrong. So, well, no, wait, hang on. So the purchase, so it can't both, wait, deflation. Ooh, that's another thing. Pay attention. We have the word deflation and we have the word inflation. So they're not, I thought for a minute they were saying the opposites of each other. The purchasing power goes up in times of deflation. That would be, so what that's saying is deflation is when the value of money goes down. No, the value of money wait, inflation? Oh, shoot. Inflation is when the value of money goes down. I need more money to buy the same thing than I did like a while ago. Deflation, I guess, is saying you actually get more money out of your money. So that can be true. Purchasing power goes down. Okay, so then I lose money. So both of these can be true at the same time, I'm pretty sure. So I would go with blue as being the wrong answer, because fixed annuity. So I'm focusing on the fact that it says fixed versus variable, because those would be the two difference. Fixed is saying it's guaranteed. You know what you're going to get. You know your interest rate. Variable, interest rate can fluctuate. You don't exactly know what you're going to get. When it's fixed and you know the interest rate, it's because the insurance has guaranteed it for you. When it's variable, the insurance is not guaranteeing anything. And that means you are taking on the risk. So fixed would be the insurer takes on the risk because they're guaranteeing that no matter what, they will pay you this amount of money. Variable says, well, it varies on the stock market. It varies on what's going on. And that risk is borne by the annuitant, the person who purchased the policy. So even though I am a little bit confused as heck onto the yellow and the green, I know for sure that blue is the opposite of a fixed annuity. That would be a variable annuity. So I would choose my answer as blue. Oh, shoot, it was blue. It timed out at the exact second I hit it. So blue was the correct answer there. Peter, did you want to add anything about the inflation, deflation? You probably could explain that way better than I just did. And again, it's okay to fumble around. I want you to, I told you at the very beginning, I didn't look at all of these questions before. I didn't look really at any of them. And I wanted you to see my true experience of going through these questions so that you can see how it feels taking an exam that you don't know the questions yet. I wanted you to see a true experience of that. Peter, go ahead. I think you have some.
Well, I forgot exactly what the question was, but the deflation, inflation statements were actually both true. And I know that deflation and inflation are opposites. But what made them both true is on one, the money went up and the other, it went down. It's going to go in opposite directions during deflation, inflation. If I had the words in front of me, I could explain it, but
Yeah.
you identified that they were both true. Although at first glance, it looked like, oh, they may be opposites, but they were not opposites. Because in deflation, I think it said the purchasing power went
goes up.
up. Because in deflation, prices come down, so you can buy more with your money. And in inflation, your purchasing power goes down. That's what we're in now. You just can't get as much with your dollars as you could before. So both of them are true statements. And that's my only comment I have.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was what is true about which of the following is not true about an annuity, a fixed annuity. And yeah, I didn't first pay attention. When I read the bottom two, I thought they both said inflation or deflation. I didn't realize one was D and one was in. And that is, again, why we need to slow down and take our time reading the answer choices. We were doing the property and casualty test the other day, and there literally was, somebody said, yo, blue and green are exactly the same. And I'm like, no, they're not. One says insured and one says insurer. Other than that, the sentences were exactly the same. So one letter off made all the difference in the world. And if we're not slowing down, there's nothing we can do. Emily, if we run out of time, is there a way to get all 100 questions? No, sorry. That's the simplest answer. Under the Uniform Provisions Law, which of the following provisions is optional for accident and health? Okay, so when it comes to the Uniform Provisions Law, there are optional and required. And it is, unless you're in Kentucky, you don't really need to remember which ones are optional and which ones are required. I have never really seen that be something that is tested. But the one that is always asked about in terms of being required is physical exam and autopsy. So I know physical exam and autopsy is a required mandatory provision. Pretty sure entire contract is mandatory. Time limit on defenses is mandatory. I'm pretty sure change of occupation is the only one that is optional. So I would go with that one. And I'm correct. But this is not important for you to know. So don't stress unless you're in the state of Kentucky. Kentucky does test you on which are optional and which are required. None of the other states that I have experienced really do that. It is not one of the pieces of knowledge that you need to add to all the things you need to know. It is way more important to know what each of these means than to know if it is optional or required. Now, when we teach it in gold, whether I teach it or Peter teaches it, we use the same PowerPoint. It will tell you if it's required or optional. So if you want to feel better and memorize it, by all means, go ahead. But I don't think it's going to make or break you on the exam if you remember which are optional and which are required. But I would remember physical exam and autopsy is required. That one is one that I have seen them ask which one is required, and it is physical exam and autopsy. Any death benefit under a health insurance contract is limited to deaths caused by any death benefit under a health insurance contract is limited to deaths caused by. That's an interesting question. Oh, it's because, okay, so when you buy health, okay, for a minute there, I was like, well, what if you get sick and you die? It's not asking about life insurance benefits. It kind of is. There is only one policy on the health insurance side that talks about death, and it is accidental death and dismemberment. Now that is also on the life side, but you can purchase it on the health side as well. And so if the one and only policy that is offered in health that covers death is accidental death and dismemberment, then that means the death would need to be caused by accidental injury only. Now, there is, though, now that I'm reading the answer choices, there is stroke and dread disease, but those are not for the death of those things. Those are for the diagnosis of those things. And generally, you need to be alive in order to receive benefits under the dread disease or critical illness. So I'm still going to lean towards accidental injury only. So yes, there are policies for dread disease, stroke, heart attack, but it is the survival of that that causes the payout, not the death of that. So I'm going to go with yellow. Correct. Failure of an insurer to enforce a provision in their policy is known as. I don't know that I've ever seen that question, but failure to enforce. So I'm going to have to work my way through this. So I know estoppel is waiving, waiver is waiving a right. So the insurance company has rights. Like if you're filling out an insurance application, you know, they have the right to ask you a bunch of questions. And if they take an application with blank answers and they issue a policy, they have waived the right to know that answer. And yes, Heather, curfew, that's the example for a waiver. Yes. Estoppel would be the insured's option of saying, well, you've already like, you can't ask me that question now. You've already accepted my blank answer. You've already issued a policy. You can't come back and take your right back. That would be estoppel. Rescission, I don't even know that word. Breach of warranty makes sense if an insurance contract says this is what it's going to do and then they don't do it, they're breaching a warranty. So I'd go with yellow. I wouldn't focus on red. Now, red could be the right answer, but here's the thing. I never see that in any of the studies. And one of the things that we tend to do is we see a word we don't know, and then we hyper-focus on it. Or we see an acronym that we don't know, and then we hyper-focus on it. And it's like, I don't remember it, so somehow it must be the right answer. No. Keep in mind, they have to put in fluffers. They have to put in fake examples. Okay, they have to put in random words that may be real or not real, could be about property and casualty, and you're taking the life and health exam. They have to put in 4 answer choices, and some of them may be completely made up words, completely made up phrases, or non-existent acronyms. If you've never seen it, don't focus on it. Assume that it is one of the bad answers. Okay, just assume that it's wrong. I want to lead either towards yellow or green. I could go either way. This is where I would choose C. So here's a test tip. If you don't know the answer, you truly don't know, you can't eliminate any, you're out of your mind with this question. None of Peter's test tips helped you. For whatever reason, statistically speaking, choosing C is better than choosing any of the other ones. So when you really, really, really don't know, go with C and move on. Because statistically, for some reason, C has a slightly higher chance of being correct. And I don't know what order this is, A, B, C, D. I know it's not estoppel. It would either have to be waiver, because estoppel would be coming from the insured side. So I don't know. Let's see. It's waiver, right? So they waived their right. They waived their right to enforce the provision. And if they refuse, if they don't do it, then they don't do it. So whatever on this answer. Again, we don't need to be 100%. 70, C's get degrees. C's get degrees. And it wasn't red, right? A word we didn't know, a word we've never seen before. It wasn't red. Don't focus on words we don't know. Multiple employer trust METs were created to provide group coverage for. So when you're studying, you learn about METs and MEWAs. And they're similar in the same way in that METs and MEWAs are for smaller businesses that maybe don't have a ton of people. So like when you go to buy group insurance and you're Target, right? Target, Walmart, you have millions of employees, thousands of employees. It is easy for you to get group insurance because the law of large numbers says the more people you've got, the better your averages work. When you're a small mom and pop and you've got 3 employees, as soon as one of them gets really sick, the insurance company has to pay a ton of money. The law of averages are not on your side. So when it comes to small mom and pops, they can have a difficult time purchasing group insurance for their employees. And this is where METs and MEWAs come in, and it allows small employers in similar industries to group together and either purchase insurance on their own, which is a MET, or provide their own insurance together, which is a MEWA. Multiple Employers Trust Association, maybe is what it stands for. I don't know, MEWA. So what you want to remember about METs and MEWAs is small employers, same industry. Small employers, same industry. So like if I have a burger shop on one side of town with 5 employees, and Peter has a burger shop on the other side of town with, 6 employees, we can join together as a group and buy a policy together, because now we'll have 11 instead of 5 and 6. Our averages get better the more people we have, and it will become easier for us to be able to purchase insurance. So METs and MEWAs are small employers in the same industry. A MET allows you to buy insurance. A MEWA, you become insurance. You insure yourself in a MEWA, but you do it together. So not large, small. METs and MEWAs, small. METs and MEWAs are small. And again, same industry. All the following are true about group health insurance except. So we want to, try to recall what we know about group insurance. It is usually purchased by an employer for all of their employees. The employer is the group leader. They get a copy of the master contract. All the little employees covered under the plan get copies of, or get certificates of coverage. They don't ever see a copy of the policy. So let's see what we've got here. The employee receives a certificate of insurance. True. The employee will never get a copy of the policy. They will only get a certificate that says they're covered under the policy. Yellow, the employer receives the master policy. True. Employer they will be the ones who will actually get a copy of the master policy. The contract is between the employer and the insurer. That is true. The employer buys a contract from the insurer. Yes. The contract is between the employer and the employee. Nope. No, it's not. The contract is, so blue is true, which makes green false. So the employee didn't go to the insurance company and buy that plan. The employee worked at the company and was told by the company what plan they get to be on. So the contract is between the employer and the insurer, the R's, the insurer, employer. And the biggest question they always ask about group insurance is that the employer receives a copy of the master policy. The employee receives a certificate of insurance. So our answer here is green, that the contract is between the employer and the employee, because that is false. It's between the employer and the insurer. All right, one more question. Which of the following is true when life insurance is used by an employer as an executive bonus plan? So, not a highly tested topic, generally comes out of the retirement plan taxes chapter, but the executive bonus plan is a way, I'm pretty sure, if I'm saying this correctly, it's a way for the employer to provide extra income to the employee, but via purchasing life insurance for them. So it's where the employer basically goes to an executive and says, hey, we can't pay you any more income because of taxes or whatever reason. But what we can do is buy a life insurance policy for you. So when a life insurance policy, we're going to pay the premium. You don't have to pay, and your family will benefit from that. So it's a way of the employer trying to pay extra money to an executive by buying a life insurance policy for them. So let's look at our answers. It is a type of group. It's not group insurance. No, it's buying their own policy. So that is probably our correct answer. The employer pays the premium. Yes, that's the whole point. The employer says, we want to pay you extra income, but we can't. Instead, we will buy you life insurance. The employer owns the policy. Pretty sure they own it. Yes, because they're the one buying it. The employer is the benefit. Ooh, wait a minute. I'm pretty sure the family is. Maybe it is group, but maybe it's a different type of group. I don't know. Peter, do you have anything to say on this one?
Well, it's not group. An executive, yeah, you buy an individual policy in everyone. So we throw out the red. The employer owns the policy. He certainly can, and then he gives it to him at a later date. The employer does pay the premium. What are we looking for? Which one is
wrong?
True? We're looking for which the following is true.
Well, oh, wait. Oh, shoot. I thought all these were true. Dang. Slow down. Read your questions, y'all. I was like, we're almost done. I'm going to brush through this question. Thank you, Peter.
I think yellow is the one that's true.
Yeah, I know the green is definitely false, because the whole point is saying we're going to pay you extra income and your family will benefit. So if the family benefits, then that means the family has to be the beneficiary, not the employer. The employer owns the policy. I think they may be the one to purchase it, but they probably make the executive the owner. Correct. I know for sure yellow is true.
Yep.
So yellow is our correct answer. I almost read this as an accept question. I didn't slow down. I made the question harder than what it was. That is another thing too. Sometimes we make the questions harder than what they actually are. Allow questions to be simple. Sometimes I've had people say, the questions were too easy, yet I failed. I couldn't believe they were too easy. I couldn't believe that so many were so simple. And I overthought, I overanalyzed, and I ended up choosing the wrong answer. Allow some of the questions to be simple. This was not an accept question, but my brain almost immediately made it that way because it said, which of the following is true? And usually is true always is followed by accept. All the following are true except. My brain immediately made this harder on myself. I didn't allow it to just be simple. Some questions are just straight up simple. Allow it to be simple. So when a question seems too good to be true, when it's like, that is too easy, don't assume it's tricky. There's already enough questions that are tricky. Don't make non-tricky ones tricky. Okay. So yeah, that's our answer. Okay. So we're going to exit out of our game. All right. So let me. Yes. And so back to Emily, you asked if you can have more of the questions. There isn't really a way of me sending them to you, but I do want to tell you that the reason we have these questions available to us, these are different. Now we do have regular Kahoot games. Like I'll send you my Kahoots. So I'm going to send you 2 links right now. One is to play Kahoots, but you will not find the Kahoot we played today in the link that I'm about to send you, but you will find other Kahoots that you can play. And people swear by them. They love them. But one of the things I want to tell you is we are in the process of being able to sell you practice exams. So these questions are coming from the practice exams that we are developing and that we're going to be selling. So I can't just share it publicly and let everybody have it. and then we also want to make them exclusive to these classes only. Because if we use ones we already have, it doesn't make it as cool or as good. So the first
Okay.
link that I just shared is all the public Kahoots that you can play. And then the next
Okay.
link that I want to share with you is Peter's test tip class. Go ahead, Peter. Did you have something?
I just wanted to say something real quick. I'm sorry to interrupt if
Oh, go
Peter
ahead.
was gonna say something. Just because I still am taking the Excel solutions course and I still have access to that, so I'm taking like the cram courses and everything else like that. So do you recommend doing that too?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Use your practice course that's available to you.
Okay.
And your practice quizzes, your practice exams. What you don't want to do is use them as a studying tool. So there are
No.
people who will quiz, memorize all the answers and think they're good to go for the test. Memorizing practice questions is not the same as studying. And although I like Excel's practice questions better than any other practice questions I have seen, it's not a
Okay.
guarantee that their questions are the same as the state exam. So it's,
Okay. So what I've been doing, I've been doing like the course of the going through all their test questions, and then if I become stumped on a lot of them, and I'm like getting them wrong, I'll go back and review the information using your videos and also their pre-recorded and the whole lesson and everything like that. So that's a good way to go?
I think I caught most of what you said. Sorry.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I know, I'm sorry.
No worries.
Just that I go through the test, and then if I'm not doing so well on the test, I'll stop what I'm doing, then I'll go back and review the information
Yes.
using your videos, and then also the whatever Excel has on their
It is
videos as well.
super important that if you are failing a quiz, you do not just retake it. Go back and study, go back and review. So it's super important that people will take a quiz, fail it, take it again. Like you fail it with like a 65, you take it again, you get a 66, you take it again, you get a 67, you take it again, you get a 68. You're not learning anything. You're just memorizing questions until you score passing. You
Right.
don't want to memorize questions. You want to know content, because the
Okay.
questions you see in your practice will not necessarily be the same you see on your state test. So it's far more important that you know content over exact questions. So our advice always, if you fail an exam, do not just take it again, go back to study and then take it.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Okay. So the second link that I just posted is the class for Peter. So if you want to buy his test tip class where he shows everybody how to break down a question, what words to pay attention to, he goes more nitty gritty than I do. I'll spend more time teaching a topic than I break down a question. And that's just our styles. If you want to have more detail, and Peter can maybe better even explain what he covers in that class, but you can click that link and you can purchase his class, $7 for 48 hours or $17 to own it, watch it as much as you want. Did you want to say anything about that class, Peter?
Well, I'd see a question about from Patina about, is it life and health? It's really more about how questions get asked and how you can find clues in the question that can get you to the right answer. So I don't really teach life or health or property and casualty. I use questions from each ones to identify the type of question and how you can seek out the answer. It's not a replacement for studying at all. I mean, you got to study the material. You can't take this class and be ready for the test. This class is for those people who know the material, but when they take the test, they're missing it by 5 or 6 points because the dadgum questions throw them off. So that's what this class is about. I want to say something else about paying attention to Melissa. She really has a great handle on what gets asked on the test. Sometimes people, I'm going to use an example, that question on executive bonus. People could be, say you're taking life and you know that executive bonus is in there. You could get that question and say, I don't get executive bonus, and spend 30 or 40 minutes trying to understand executive bonus when it's hardly ever on any tests. And that 30 or 40 minutes in another chapter or on something more significant would have been helpful. So when you watch Melissa's teaching, pay attention to what she emphasizes. She emphasizes where the points are. And you want to be careful about chasing something that isn't worth very much. She even sometimes says, I think it's on taxes. Taxes are really complicated. And if you want to be an accountant, yeah, learn all about taxes. But if you're just trying to pass a life and health exam, learn some basics, but spend most of your time on where the questions are. And she gives you great guidance on that.
Yeah. Yeah. When you think about how much material you have to study, there might be, 20 pages about taxes for a return on maybe 3 questions. So that means you're having to study like 7 some pages to be prepared for 1 question. And it's complicated material that takes a lot of time to memorize, understand, retain. It's not worth your time. You can better spend your time on something that is way less pages, like provisions, and shows up way bigger on the exam. Provisions will usually be 10, 17, 20 questions on the exam for like 4 pages worth of material. You don't need to know how many pages of material and how many questions. I know that, and that is what I teach. So when you use what I have to teach you, and you listen to what I say about what is tested, what is not highly tested, what you need to pay attention, what you don't need to pay attention to, I handle all of that for you in how I teach. So the second link is buying Peter's class. It's not associated to life, health, property, casualty. It's associated to the insurance exam and tackling questions. So if you keep failing with a high 60 or like a 65 to a 70, and you feel like you know the material, you're struggling with the questions, not the material. And he will help you to break down those questions. Carmen, does Kaplan use Excel questions? No, Kaplan is like McDonald's and Excel is like Burger King. They're 2 separate companies. But there's no reason, if you already have Kaplan, you don't need to buy Excel. It's not worth your time. If you're going to spend any extra money, spend it on my stuff, because that's way more valuable to you than buying a whole new course just for their questions. It's not worth it. When will your practice be available? As soon as we can. It'll be a little bit later for life and health. I'm so sorry. Life and health always comes a little bit later after property casualty, because we have like for instance, there's 50 of you registered today. I had almost 100 registered for property and casualty. So we get way more people for property and casualty. So that becomes our #1 focus. And then life and health comes after. I just passed my PNC, thinking about studying for life and health. Life and health, Liz, is actually easier than property and casualty. So property and casualty requires a lot of memorization of perils and policies. Life and health is a lot more definitions, much easier. I'm glad you said that, because I was doing it wrong. Yeah, okay, so we answered that. Taking the class is worth it. Trust me, helped me immensely. So Emerald is backing Peter's class. She just took it the other day. PSI is a testing company, and they sell a practice exam, but I have not heard good things about the PSI practice exam. So I think they charge you like $35 or something for a practice exam, and people say they wish they didn't spend it. So just that's the advice that I have for that. Tips for ExamFX California Life. Yeah, Emerald, we've probably already shared it with you before, but if you email me what state, what exam, or you comment in Facebook what state, what exam, I'm going to give you a written description of what's important to focus on in your state. So when it comes to California Life, it's going to be like types of life. Provisions is big on there. Now, California actually has a really good breakdown. If you were to Google California Life Exam Content Outline, you could, on the California website, they will actually give you a broken down document of every topic and how many questions come from every topic. So that would probably be the best thing to look for. But if you let me know what state, what exam, I will send you a written description of what's important and what to pay attention to and how my class series will help you. Whether or not you purchase my class series, that description tells you what's important, what to focus on. And don't forget, we have free resources. Not only do we have the YouTube channel, we have free notes on the website. So if you go to insuranceexamqueen.com and you go to resources, there are free notes. People said that I should be charging a ton of money for those notes for the value that they give. And I don't. They're absolutely free. So you could download those notes. And then we also have Kahoot games. So I already shared that link above. If you want to play more games on your own time, you can play any of those games by yourself. You do probably have to register for a Kahoot account, but you don't need to pay anything. If you sign up for Kahoot and they're like, buy a plan, you don't need to buy a plan. There's always an option to skip and get a free account. Could you please put Peter's breakdown of questions? Yeah, so that link is the second link. So again, let me just show you guys everything here real quick. Nope, I don't want to do that. Okay, so my website, insuranceexamqueen.com, let me post that link. This is where you can find everything, okay? Along the top here, you have home, property, casualty, life or health, book your spot, whatever. You can start on this page. I explain, who I am, what I'm here to help you do. And then down below, you can pick where you are at in the process. I'm just getting started. I'm already studying. Or if you're an agency, whatever, you pick your option, or you can just come up here. You go to life and health. We have an overview, read first. This is going to give you helpful information about what's important for your exam. Then we offer things for sale. We have platinum, which allows you to talk to me directly as you're studying. You can ask me questions in a support group chat. There is gold, which is what I always recommend to everybody. It's going to be the most in-depth videos broken down in an amazing order, how you should watch them. And that is my best recommendation. Silver is the next lowest tier after that. So silver, I think, has like 14 hours, and life and health, I don't know, you can click in each one. And then if you want to buy Peter's classes, so these are all mine. The Royal Treatment are Insurance Exam Queen classes. All of them are taught by me. If you want classes from Peter, you can purchase single classes for sale. So you click life classes. So you can see he's got general insurance test tips. That's the one you guys want, right? So you click that one and it will take you to a site where you can buy it and watch it as many times as you want, or you can rent it for 48 hours. So once you purchase it, you've got 48 hours to watch that video. And again, and then he has a lot of classes here. So like I would recommend provisions because it's one of the highly tested topics. And all of these videos are different from what you find in gold because it is Peter teaching and not me. The material will be the same, but the way we explain it, the way we break it down, Peter uses a lot of different metaphors and examples than I do. And you can really benefit from listening to both. He does even have a taxes class. So if you're like, I do want to just be a little bit stronger in taxes, because it is small on the exam, but in some states it could be like up to 10 questions. And that can help you if you can just answer a few of them correctly. So he does have a tax class. If you need a one-off state regulations class. So some of these are my classes. It will always show you if it's Peter or if it's me. So you can buy those for life or health. And then again, under the resources tab, there's resources for all exams. That's going to show you the YouTube channel. And we do have life videos on there. I think somebody asked that. We have the Facebook group. If you're not already in there, you can join that for support. And then we have Kahoot games that you can play yourself. And then if you scroll down to life and health, these are the notes. All of these are life and health notes, then life only, and then health only. And again, people have told me I should, these are worth I could put these on a book on Amazon and definitely sell it like hotcakes, but I've offered it to you for free. So definitely check those out if you haven't already. And that's because, again, I want everyone to pass. And yes, I'm a business, so I'm going to charge money, but I'm also going to make it really easy for you to access free materials as well using all of these. So any questions with all that? I see the chat box. I lost it. Yes, Emerald, do you need me to? I think I have to unmute you or something. Hang on. Okay, so I just asked you to unmute, Emerald.
I just thank you for allowing me to share. I just wanted to really let everyone know that's on. If you're thinking, if you don't already have the what she's saying, far as the platinum, the gold, you get it. Like, don't hesitate. Get it. It will help you tremendously. Like, I was struggling and I found Melissa on just because I was looking. And when I found her, I haven't let up off of all of her teachings, aleatory, unilateral, like it is absolute. And then when she's doing the notes, when she's breaking it down from section to section, I use a big Post-it, and as she's doing the notes and explaining, I'm writing with her. And then I go back and I look at everything that is on those notes that I just took. And I'm like, oh, I know that. I just went over that with her, and I can see it, and it's there, and it makes so much sense. So it is absolutely worth it. Don't cheat yourself. It is an investment.
Thank you. And many people have said that I mean, you're either going to pay multiple reattempts, right? You fail, you pay again to test, you fail, you pay again to test, or you buy my packages. That's what people have basically said. And so I mean, and many people have said they would have paid double or triple what they got because it really helped them secure a pass. And keep in mind, I know for Life and Health, we only have 3 options, but if you were to buy silver, that's $57. And then you wanted to later upgrade to gold, there will be a coupon in silver that will allow you to upgrade to gold for only the price difference. So like, I'll never make you pay twice for something. So if your budget is lower and you start at the 57, you can later upgrade to the gold for only the price difference. So some people have asked me, do you have a payment plan? No, but if you buy silver, you can then upgrade to gold. And if you buy gold, you can then upgrade to platinum. If you needed to chat with me directly. And there will always be a coupon inside your class to upgrade to the next available package. So I just wanted to point that out. All right. Perfect. Reggie says the same thing. It's worth it. I learned so much, took notes as I was writing. Yes. Okay, perfect. All right. So I'm going to go eat some dinner. I don't feel, yeah, and it's 100 days of access for any of those. I'm not quite, I have felt some tightness, but I don't think we're moving directly into labor yet by any means, but we will keep you, updated as we have when the baby arrives. I took a week with ExamFX and a week with Melissa, had never done any type of insurance, worth it, a pass to try. And I imagine many of you are talking about the property and casualty side since you're here for Life and Health. If I purchase one of the packages, is it lifetime or no, it's 100 days. So the only thing that if you were to purchase, the only thing that you purchase that you would own forever would be these one-off classes when you buy it for 17. But my class series is only like when you buy gold, it's limited to 100 days. And the reason for that is because there are insurance recruiters out there who, if they bought lifetime access, they would send all of their people through it. And then I lose out on sales. So there has to be a limit. There has to be a limit. All right. I'm not on Instagram. I don't think. I may have an Instagram titled Insurance Exam Queen, but I'm not active on it. I am most active on Facebook, YouTube, and then I believe there's a TikTok. There is a TikTok, but I don't really run it or I don't engage on it. Facebook and YouTube is where you'll find me. Good luck on your big day. Thank you. You too, taking your life tomorrow. June 21st, baby. Yeah. Oh, you know what? The 23rd of the 23rd feels good. So if she was born on 23 of 23, that would be super cool. But yeah, I mean, she's going to show up any minute. It's up to her, you know, up to her. Thank you. Ooh, it's the first day of summer for you. Nice. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Liz. All right. Fantastic. So we are done with class. So I'm going to wish you all well. And like I said, we will keep you updated. If you paid $17, you will receive the copy of this recording. It is likely to go to your junk email. So check your junk email for a copy of this recording. We always say 24 to 48 hours in case of technical issues. But usually you get it a lot faster than that. If you don't get it or there's any problem, you can email us at insuranceexamqueen@gmail.com. And if you paid $7 and you want a copy of this, then you can email insuranceexamqueen.com and we'll get you a link to pay the difference. Yes, Peter, they want a game night for health. So keep that. Peter will be the one. I will not be teaching for a while. I will be breastfeeding and taking care of the baby. So any future classes coming up are going to be with Peter. And he can even do some of these classes with these Kahoots that we have created now. So it's whatever he wants to schedule. So whatever you guys demand, he will teach it. All right. Any final thoughts, Peter, or we're good? Sign out. See you guys later.
No, just glad we didn't have to bring out the towels.
She's wiggling around right now. I can feel her. One-on-one with Peter. Yes. If you want to do a one-on-one with Peter, I think you guys can still see my screen. Go to one-on-one tutoring. And oh, wait. Oh, we need to update this. So there is a link to do, you have to fill out a request form because the demand is so high. And it is on Facebook. So if you went to Facebook and you typed in tutoring, then there is a link, but we need to update the website with the proper link. So we need to fix that. So email us if you're not on Facebook and you want to. Okay, so then Emerald will check it. I don't have access to it. My COO does that. So I will have her get with Peter to check in on that. And we will update this website. We'll update the tutoring so that you guys can fill out that request form. All right, love you all. Have a good evening. I'm gonna head on out. I love you, Mary. Thank you for being here. My best friend ever in the whole wide world.